Hi there, I'm Anna, and welcome to Natural English. In this channel, we make real English simple and natural. Let's learn something you can use today.
Hey there, beautiful learners. Welcome back to Natural English with Anna. I'm Anna, and I'm absolutely thrilled you're here with me today. You know what? I've been teaching English for over 4 decades now, and if there's one thing I've noticed, it's that even my most advanced students still scratch their heads when it comes to three tiny little words: in, on, and at. Now, don't you worry one bit if you've been struggling with these prepositions. Trust me, you're definitely not alone in this journey. I've had students from all corners of the world come to me saying, Anna, I just can't figure out when to use in, on, or at. And you know what I tell them every single time? These three words might look innocent and simple, but they're actually quite the little troublemakers, aren't they? But here's the wonderful news I have for you today. By the end of our time together, you're going to have a crystal clear understanding of exactly when and how to use each one of these prepositions. How can I be so confident? Because I'm going to share with you the exact same visual trick I've been using with my students for years. And it works like absolute magic every single time. So grab yourself a comfortable seat, maybe a nice cup of coffee or tea, and let's dive into this adventure together. Trust me, after today's lesson, you'll never second guess yourself when choosing between in, on, and at again. Are you ready? Let's make this happen. All right, my wonderful learners, here's where the magic begins. I want you to close your eyes for just a moment and picture something with me. Can you visualize a pyramid? You know, those magnificent ancient structures in Egypt? Perfect. Now open your eyes because this pyramid is going to be your best friend from now on. Picture this pyramid sitting right in front of you. At the bottom, it's incredibly wide and spacious. As your eyes travel upward, it gets narrower and narrower until you reach the very top, which is just a tiny point. This beautiful shape is going to unlock the mystery of in, on, and at for you once and for all. Here's how this brilliant system works, and I promise you'll love how simple this is. At the wide bottom of our pyramid, we place in. This represents the most general, the broadest way of talking about time and place. Think of it as casting a wide net. Moving up to the middle section, we find on. This is more specific than in, but not quite as precise as what comes next. And finally, at that tiny, sharp point at the very top, we have at. This little word is for those super specific, pinpoint accurate moments and locations. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Anna, how does this actually help me? Well, my dear students, this pyramid will guide you through both time expressions and place expressions. We're going to start with time first, then move on to places. By the end of this journey, this pyramid will be permanently etched in your mind, making your English sound incredibly natural and confident. Let's start our journey at the bottom of the pyramid with in, shall we? When we use in for time, we're talking about those lovely general time periods. Think of in as your go-to preposition when you're not being super specific about when something happens. So when do we use in? Well, we use it for months, years, seasons, and parts of the day. Let me paint some pictures for you with real examples. I was born in March. We're talking about the entire month, not a specific date. She moved to Canada in 2019. That's the whole year we're referring to. Everything looks magical in winter. We mean the entire season. I love reading in the evening. That's a general part of the day. Here are some more natural examples you might use in your daily conversations. My daughter graduated in 2022. We always take vacations in summer. I feel most creative in the morning. The company was founded in 1995. Let's plan to meet in April. Now, I want you to practice with me. Say this sentence out loud. I feel most energetic in the morning. Did you say it? Wonderful. How about this one? My favorite movies came out in the 1990s. Can you feel how natural these sound? That's because in gives us that comfortable, general feeling when talking about time. We're not pinpointing an exact moment. We're painting with broader strokes. Remember, at the bottom of our pyramid, in covers those wider time periods like a warm, cozy blanket. It's forgiving, it's general, and it's perfect for those bigger chunks of time in our lives. Now, let's climb up our pyramid to the middle section where on lives. This is where things get a bit more specific, and honestly, this is where the magic of natural English really starts to shine through. We use on when we want to talk about particular days of the week, specific dates, and special occasions. It's like we're zooming in a little closer on our time telescope. Let me give you some beautiful examples that you'll definitely recognize. I have my dentist appointment on Monday. Her wedding is on June 15th. We always have a big family dinner on Thanksgiving Day. I started my new job on the 1st of September. Here's what I love about on. It gives your English that crisp, organized feeling. When you say, let's meet on Saturday, people know you're talking about a specific day, not just any random day during the weekend. Or when you mention, I have a presentation on the 10th, everyone understands exactly which date you mean. Let's practice together with some sentences you might actually use. My birthday is on April 23rd. Go ahead, say that out loud. How about, we're having a barbecue on Sunday? Did you practice that one too? Perfect. Notice how on makes your time references much more concrete than in. We've moved up from the broad base of our pyramid to something more focused. Whether it's on Christmas morning, on my graduation day, or on next Friday, you're giving your listeners a clear, specific time frame. This middle section of our pyramid is all about those memorable days and dates that matter in our lives. And here we are at the very tip top of our pyramid, the most precise point where AT lives. This is where we get incredibly specific with our time, down to the exact minute if we want to. AAT is your best friend when you're talking about clock times and very specific moments. Think of it as your precision tool for time. The meeting starts at 3:30. I wake up at 6:45 every morning. The store closes at 9 p.m. Let's have dinner at 7 o'clock. See how exact and clear that is? But AT isn't just for clock times. We also use it for those special, specific moments that happen regularly. I always feel hungry at lunchtime. The city looks beautiful at sunset. Everything feels possible at midnight on New Year's Eve. She calls her mom at dinner time every day. Let me share some examples you'll definitely use. The train arrives at 2:15. Try saying that one. I have a conference call at 10 a.m. How did that sound? What I absolutely love about AT is how it makes your English sound so professional and organized. When you say, I'll call you AT 4:30, There's no confusion about when that call is happening. It's not sometime in the afternoon. It's precisely AT 4:30. So remember, beautiful learners, AT sits proudly at the peak of our pyramid because it's the most specific, the most exact, the most pinpoint accurate way to express time. It's your secret weapon for sounding like a true English speaker who knows exactly what they mean when they speak. Before we move on to places, let's take a moment to cement everything we've learned about time. This is so important, and I want to make sure you feel absolutely confident about this. Picture our pyramid again: in at the bottom for general time periods, on in the middle for specific days and dates, and AT at the top for exact times. Let's do a quick review with examples you'll actually use in real life. In I love traveling in spring. She was born in 1985. We're busiest in the morning. They met in college in 2010. On the party is on Saturday. I have a doctor's appointment on March 5th. We always visit grandparents on Christmas Day. The conference starts on Monday. I'll pick you up at 7:30. The movie begins at 8 p.m. She exercises at dawn. Let's meet at noon. Now, let's practice together with some mixed examples. I'll give you a sentence, and I want you to think about which preposition fits. I love reading Kakasao the evening. Did you think in? Excellent. The wedding is Chakasya June 12th. You thought on, right? Perfect. My flight leaves Ma 6:45 a.m. You said AT, didn't you? You're getting this. This pyramid system works because it follows the natural logic of specificity. From general to specific, in covers the broad periods, on focuses on particular days, and AT pinpoints exact moments. Once you internalize this pyramid, choosing the right preposition becomes as natural as breathing. Wonderful. Now that we've mastered time, let's explore how our trusty pyramid works for places. And guess what? The same beautiful logic applies. We're going from general to specific, from the wide base to the narrow peak. Let's start with in at the bottom of our pyramid. When we talk about places, in is used when something is inside or within a larger space or area. Think of it as being enclosed or surrounded by something bigger. Here are some perfect examples. She lives in Tokyo. Tokyo is a large city, and she's somewhere within it. I left my keys in the car. The keys are inside the enclosed space of the car. We met in the park. The park is a large area, and they were somewhere within it. There's fresh milk in the refrigerator. The milk is inside that enclosed appliance. Let me give you more examples you'll use every day. I work in downtown. The children are playing in the backyard. She keeps her jewelry in a special box. We studied in the library all afternoon. He's traveling in Europe this summer. Can you feel how in creates that sense of being within or surrounded by something? It's like being embraced by a larger space. Let's practice together. I love shopping in the city center. Say that with me. How about, my phone is somewhere in my purse? Perfect. Notice how in gives us that feeling of being contained within something larger. Whether it's a physical container, like a bag, an enclosed space, like a room, or a large area, like a country. In shows us that relationship of being inside or within that larger space. Now let's climb up to the middle of our pyramid, where on waits for us. When it comes to places, on is beautifully straightforward. It's all about surfaces and contact. Think of on as the preposition that shows something is touching or resting on top of a surface. It's that connection between two things where one is supported by the other. Let me show you what I mean. Your coffee cup is on the table. There's a beautiful painting on the wall. I left my sunglasses on the dashboard. The cat is sleeping on the sofa. But here's where it gets interesting. On isn't just for physical surfaces. We also use it for streets, public transportation, and certain locations. I live on Main Street. She's on the bus right now. We had lunch on the patio. There's construction on Highway 101. Let's practice with some everyday examples. My laptop is on my desk. Try saying that. The kids drew pictures on the sidewalk with chalk. How did that sound? We're having dinner on the terrace tonight. What I love about on is how visual it is. When you say something is on something else, people can immediately picture that relationship. The book is on the shelf. The bird landed on the fence. We sat on the beach all afternoon. You can see each of these scenes, can't you? Remember, on creates that beautiful image of contact and surface connection. It's your middle ground in the pyramid, more specific than Ian, but not as pinpoint precise as AT. And here we are at the sharp, precise peak of our pyramid, AT for places. This is where we get incredibly specific about exact locations and destinations. ATI is your precision tool for places. It points to a specific spot, a particular destination, or an exact location where something happens. Unlike IN, which talks about being inside something, and ON, which shows surface contact, AT is like putting a pin on a map and saying, right here. Let me show you how this works. Let's meet at the coffee shop. We're not talking about being inside the coffee shop or on top of it. We're talking about that specific location as our meeting point. She's waiting at the bus stop. I'll see you at the entrance. They're at the movie theater. We had lunch at that new restaurant downtown. Here are some more examples you'll use constantly. I'm at work right now. The kids are at school. We'll pick you up at your house. She's at the gym every evening. Let's meet at the corner of 5th and Main. Practice these with me. I'll be at the library all morning. Say it out loud. We're meeting at the park entrance. How did that feel? What's magical about AT is how it creates that sense of arrival and presence. When you say, I'm at the doctor's office, people know you've arrived at that specific location. It's not about being inside the building or on a particular floor. It's about being present at that exact destination. At gives your English that crisp, clear sense of exactly where something is happening. Now, my dear learners, here's where I need to share something important with you. English, being the wonderfully complex language that it is, doesn't always follow the rules perfectly. I know. Wouldn't it be lovely if it did? But these little exceptions are part of what makes English so rich and interesting. Let me share the most important exceptions you absolutely need to know. First, we have a time expression that breaks our pyramid rule. At night. Even though we say in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening, we always say at night. I wish I could give you a logical reason for this, but sometimes English just is what it is. You'll hear, I love reading at night, or the city is beautiful at night. Here's another interesting one. The difference between at school and in school. They might look similar, but they mean different things. My son is at school simply means he's at that location, the school building. He could be studying, visiting, or even working there. But my son is in school means he's a student. He's enrolled in the educational system and attends classes regularly. And here's a modern exception that's super important. Anything related to technology uses on. We say, I saw it on TV. She called me on the phone. I found that information on the internet, and I heard it on the radio. Technology seems to have its own rules. There's also on the bus, on the train, and on the plane for public transportation, but in the car for personal vehicles. Why? Well, that's just how English has evolved over time. Remember, these exceptions aren't meant to confuse you. They're just part of the beautiful, quirky nature of English that makes it so expressive and alive. Now, my dear learners, here's where I need to share something important with you. English, being the wonderfully complex language that it is, doesn't always follow the rules perfectly. I know. Wouldn't it be lovely if it did? But these little exceptions are part of what makes English so rich and interesting. Let me share the most important exceptions you absolutely need to know. First, we have a time expression that breaks our pyramid rule. At night, even though we say in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening, we always say at night. I wish I could give you a logical reason for this, but sometimes English just is what it is. You'll hear, I love reading at night, or the city is beautiful at night. Here's another interesting one, the difference between at school and in school. They might look similar, but they mean different things. My son is at school simply means he's at that location, the school building. He could be studying, visiting, or even working there. But my son is in school means he's a student. He's enrolled in the educational system and attends classes regularly. And here's a modern exception that's super important. Anything related to technology uses on. We say, I saw it on TV. She called me on the phone. I found that information on the internet, and I heard it on the radio. Technology seems to have its own rules. There's also on the bus, on the train, and on the plane for public transportation, but in the car for personal vehicles. Why? Well, that's just how English has evolved over time. Remember, these exceptions aren't meant to confuse you. They're just part of the beautiful, quirky nature of English that makes it so expressive and alive. My wonderful, dedicated learners, look how far you've come today. You've mastered one of the most challenging aspects of English grammar, and you should feel incredibly proud of yourself. Let's take one final look at our trusty pyramid. At the bottom, we have in, your broad general preposition for larger time periods like months and years, and enclosed spaces like rooms and cities. In the middle, we have on, more specific, perfect for particular days and dates, and services and streets. At the very top, we have at, your precision tool for exact times and specific locations. Remember our key time patterns. In March, in 2023, in the morning, on Monday, on July 4th, on Christmas Day, at 3:30, at midnight, at lunchtime. For places, in the kitchen, in London, on the table, on the street, at the library, at the corner. And don't forget those special exceptions. At night, at school versus in school, and on for technology and public transportation. Here's what I want you to do after this lesson. For the next week, every time you use one of these prepositions, picture our pyramid. Ask yourself, am I being general, specific, or very precise? This simple mental check will make these prepositions become second nature to you. You know what? I believe in you completely. I've seen thousands of students master this concept using this exact method, and you're going to be another success story. Keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and remember, every mistake is just a stepping stone to mastery. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I'm Anna, and I'll see you next time on Natural English with Anna. Until then, keep speaking naturally and confidently. You've absolutely got this.
Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next video.